Hello! Welcome to the McCaw Podcast Universe. We're in the not really the middle of the Shrekening.
We're in part 2 of 5 for Shrek.
Shrek, yes.
This one's just called Shrek 2.
Shrek 2, there's no fun extra title. Those will begin in the next film.
There also doesn't need to be for this one.
No, but I mean, if you're going to do a title thing, you should stick it out till the end. That's like the Scott Aukerman thing.
Isn't that... Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is kind of going to what I'm about to say. There's nothing kind of is more annoying than when there's a second movie being made. Mm-hmm. And of course, when the first movie came out, there wasn't any idea or hope that there would ever be a second one.
Yeah.
But because the first one did so well, you got a second one now. And it's like, if only they just could have...
maybe it in the title or something.
Maybe planned it sort of, but alas, someone has tried doing that, and it's called Universal with the Dark Universe, and it didn't work. So maybe people shouldn't try that.
The one that bugs me the most is the John Wick.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah,
because it's John Wick, then it's John Wick Chapter 2. So then the next one should be John Wick Chapter 3, but it's John Wick Chapter 3.
Parabellum or something.
Parabellum with a semicolon in the middle.
And a semicolon or a colon?
Or a colon.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, semicolon would be insane.
The only way I'd be happy about it is if when they come out with 4, it was like John Wick Chapter 4, Feast at the Night of the Tables, parentheses, the final chapter. Or so if they made it like a 4-part quadrant thing, that would be so funny. But because then on Shrek, it's like the next movie is going to be Shrek the Third, and then Shrek Forever After. And huge missed opportunity on Shrek Forever After. It's spelled Forever. It should be Shrek Forever After.
Yep. That's
that's like that's like a Shrek joke. That's like something Shrek would do. Because I mean, of course, that would look horrible, but that's a Shrek thing. Yeah. So I'm not sure why they didn't do that. Frankly, when we have the director of Shrek Forever After on the Shrek Forever After episode, we'll have to ask him about it. Yeah, we got a really big guest on that one.
Who directs that movie?
Mike Mitchell.
Who's that?
This is getting production notes on that one. You have to listen to that episode to find out who it is.
I think Mike is lying.
Yeah, he's not coming on. He directed, funny enough, he directed Lego Movie 2, and that one has a very clever title because they're like making fun of titles. Because it's like the Lego Movie, then the second movie is the Lego Movie 2, the second part.
Yeah.
And I think that's very funny.
Yeah.
But today we're talking Shrek.
2,
yes. And I'll just go. I'm just going to go off to the races.
Movie came out in 2004.
Yeah, May 19th, 2004.
We were in 4th grade.
I saw it in theaters. I was crazy about this movie. At the time, I was like, this is way better than the first one, and I love the first one. And I bought it. I think I bought it with my own money.
Whoa.
And I watched it all the time.
Could this be the first movie you purchased?
Yeah, I think it is. Because Nacho Libre came out later, right?
I think so. I'll double check.
Okay, because it's either that or Nacho Libre, I think. But this movie is directed by Andrew Adamson. Again, he directed the
2006.
first movie. Yeah, so this is the first movie I bought on DVD, probably.
Wow, it's a good one.
So it's directed by Andrew Adamson and Kelly Asbury, and that's a guy, Kelly Asbury. And Kelly Asbury also did Romeo and Juliet and Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron,
The sequel to Spirit?
No, that's the movie Spirit. But it's like a
colon
Spirit of the Cimarron.
Come on, Micah, get your punctuation.
Cimarron. And what's interesting is Kelly actually was a co-director on Shrek, but he left the project because he had disputes with Andrew. And then he went and he directed Spirit. And then
Isn't Matt Damon Spirit?
They got back together for this movie. I don't know.
I'm also going to look that up.
And then this has a third director, which is Conrad Vernon.
Conrad's a cool name.
Conrad is a cool name, and he directed the one and only Madagascar 3 and the one and only Sausage Party.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Wow. So
he directed Sausage Party.
Yeah. And, it's not uncommon for...
That's Seth Rogen did.
Animated... No, he produced it, and I think wrote it. It's not uncommon for animated movies to have 2 or 3 directors. That's pretty standard, I think. Unless it's like a real stickler, like a Brad Bird or something, who's like, I'm directing this movie.
Yeah.
We got produced by Aaron Warner, David Lipman, John H. Williams. I believe they also produced the first movie. Screenplay by Andrew Adamson, Joe Stillman, J. David Stem. J. David Stem, and he did an all-time like Nickelodeon classic movie that people our age would love.
TV movie?
I think so. Clock Stoppers.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, what? You didn't see Clock Stoppers?
What is
that? It's the movie that they had a watch that they could stop time, or they could speed it up so fast that it slowed down, and they froze paintballs to fight bad guys and stuff.
First of all, look at the cover for this.
Yeah. That was a movie I rented, and we watched it like 2 or 3 times.
No, I've never seen this before.
I thought that was like a rite of passage for everybody.
And I'm a Nickelodeon kid. I've never seen that. Unless maybe I have and I forgot. Huh. But I mean, this looks like a 30-year-old man.
He's got like a Freddie Prinze Jr. vibe going on.
Yeah, but he ain't Freddie Prinze Jr. No one is.
And then this guy also
there's only 2 Scooby-Doos, right?
Yeah.
We should do that as a bonus episode sometime.
Maybe.
I love Scooby-Doo. I mean, I don't like that movie.
Yeah.
But it would be so much fun to rewatch it. French Stewart's in that. French Stewart is in Clock Stoppers.
Wow, we were talking about French Stewart off mic just a second ago, who's Ernest, for those who don't remember.
Anyone who is on the fence about watching the show Community, or if you've never heard of the show Community, it's on Hulu. I'm sure most of you have subscriptions to that. Go to Community. Veronica and Troy would know the exact season and episode number, but I don't. But it's the episode where where they're impressionists. And they're all impersonating
Good luck
famous
trying to
people.
Find it if you've never seen the
French
show.
Stewart, maybe Google it. Google French Stewart Community and it'll pop up. And then watch that episode. It's so funny.
But yeah, J. David Stem, he also wrote Are We There Yet?
Good for him.
And then we got David N. Weiss, and he is his writing partner. We got story by Andrew Adamson, music by Harry Gregson Williams again. And then we got the budget. And this budget is $150 million. Domestic, $441,226,247. Worldwide, $919,838,758.
It did better than the first one.
It makes nearly $1 billion.
So it doubles the last one.
Yeah, makes a ton of money. So this was, of course, a massive success. One could even call it huge. And it's DreamWorks distributed and produced. Mm-hmm. So hit us with the actors and whatnot. Where are we at?
So aside from all of the people who were in the first movie, Fiona, Donkey, Shrek, people like that.
Cameron, Eddie, Mike.
Oh, right. Who did I say?
Fiona, Donkey, Shrek.
Oh, okay. I'm like, you said those names. I'm like, I thought I just mentioned those people. So there you have Julie Andrews, who plays the Queen. That's just like the name. Her name's Queen. Mm-hmm. You will know her from, her first acting credit was in 1949.
Wow.
The Singing Princess. And she was Princess Zayla. And then in 1965, she's in Sound of Music. In 1976, she's in Pink Panther Strikes Again.
Whoa.
Sounds good. She was uncredited,
I'm pretty sure
though.
I've seen that.
And then in 2001, obviously people I'm skipping over like most of her career. She's in a lot of stuff.
Very storied career.
And then in 2001, she's in On Golden Pond and Princess Diaries. That's what everyone wants to hear.
Yeah.
And then she is in Shrek 2 in 2004, as well as Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement. Chris Pine's in that movie. Did you know that?
In Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
I'll double check.
I never watched the sequel.
Did you like the first one?
Yeah.
I remember not liking the second one very much.
I'm sure it's horrible. I mean, right? That's a one and
Chris
done
Pine.
kind of thing.
Yeah. I loved the first one though. I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
I really identified with her. What's her name?
Being a princess?
No. Just like being someone who was unpopular and always wanting that like transformation thing.
Oh, I don't remember the movie.
Oh.
I just remember something about her being outside and there's basketball. That's about it.
Then you have
Which could totally not even be in the movie.
Yeah. Then you have Antonio Banderas. Oh, actually, fun fact about Princess Diaries, and I think I've told you this. You know the guy that she ends up with in Princess Diaries? No. Okay, so she ends up this guy in Princess Diary. That's when she gives him the pizza and sorry is spelled out and M&M's on it. Very cute.
Okay.
But that guy is Jason Schwartzman's brother.
Oh.
And that guy is actually more famous, I think, in a band than he is as an actor, because I don't think he really does anything.
Yeah,
he's in a band that's kind of well known.
Yeah.
Anyway, Antonio Banderas, who plays Puss in Boots. He's also in just a ton. He's got a ton of acting credits. A lot of it's Spanish, Hispanic acting credits. In 1993, he's in Philadelphia. 1994, Interview with a Vampire, where he has luscious long hair and nails.
Yeah.
1995, he's in Desperado. 1998, Mask of Zorro. 2001, Spy Kids.
Well, wait, what was the one before?
Mask of Zorro.
A good thing to point out because he plays Zorro in this movie, basically. Because Puss in Boots is Zorro. Yeah.
So then Spy Kids is in 2001. And then Spy Kids 2, Island of Lost Dreams is 2002. And then Spy Kids 3D, Game Over.
He's in all
2003. Yeah.
They made him 2001, 2002, 2003?
Yeah.
That's bonko.
Yeah. Do you like those? Did you like those?
I only saw the first two, but I liked them.
Oh, the third one has Elijah Wood in it.
Yeah. That's where they're in the video game?
Yeah. I remember really enjoying all of them. They were just so much fun to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elijah Wood was in it.
Do you think we could sustain a whole series on that, or would that have to be like a one episode cover all thing?
We should just watch the first movie and see.
Yeah.
We might have a lot to say. I feel like I have a lot to say, but that could not be the case by the time we do it. But I mean, Elijah Wood's in it.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the first times, 2003, like in third grade, really like watched Fellowship of the Ring, just so obsessed with it. And then I see Elijah Wood in the Spy Kids movie, and I'm like, Frodo is in another movie. And I think that I had like a little crush on him without knowing it.
Oh,
because I was like so like
respected, like you respected his decision to take the ring so much.
Yeah.
That you started crushing.
Yeah. But then it's quickly moved over to Sam.
I thought you were more of a Sam.
No, I'm a Sam person.
Yeah.
I think I was just so excited to see Frodo in another movie.
Yeah.
We're never going to get to Shrek 2 because I just want to talk about all these other movies.
No, keep going. Keep going. You're good.
So then John Cleese, who plays King.
Yeah, this is a Monty Python.
I just wrote Monty Python because I didn't have a lot of time to go over it. But
yeah, he's a huge guy.
Well, he's not physically huge. He kind of seems tall.
He's probably tall.
But he's in one of the greatest comedy troupes of all time.
Yeah.
And then Rupert... I don't actually remember what his last name is.
Oh, is this Prince Charming?
What's his last name again?
Everett, right?
Okay, that's what I wrote, but I just wasn't sure if that was him.
Yeah, I think it's Rupert Everett.
Yeah, Rupert Everett, who plays Prince Charming.
Tell me what else he's in.
He's in My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh, of course.
He's in Shakespeare in Love.
Oh, of course.
He's in Inspector Gadget.
Oh.
He's the bad guy.
Of course.
Didn't know that until scrolling through, looked at the cover, and I was like, oh, that's what I recognize him from. He's in like a million other things. He has like a very forgettable face to me.
Yeah, when I looked, I didn't recognize him.
He's got like a Army Hammer complex to me where he's so symmetrically good looking that he's actually kind of boring to look at to me.
Yeah, the Army Hammer one is a little different. That's why I think when like in Sorry to Bother You and in Social Network, when he's a jerk, he pops more, I think, because he's so
Social Network, I always forget he's in it. Always. He's in the twins, right?
Good. He's so good.
Right?
And he's the Winklevoss twins.
I always forget.
Yeah, but if you watch it, you're like, it's magnetic. So I think...
I'm not speaking to his acting. Yeah. I'm just speaking to his face.
I know. I'm just saying, I think when he's in something where he can have like that, where he can have some aggression,
Yeah.
He pops a lot
I feel
more.
like in Sorry to Bother You, he was, whatever his wardrobe decision was, it was more to make him look a little, he just seemed kind of more a little overweight to me. I don't think he was.
Yeah. No.
But he was wearing like sweats. He had like
that movie
unshaven
is
face.
so wild. Do you ever just think about the third act of that movie?
Yeah, but I don't think I could ever watch that movie again.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was I gonna say? But he's in Nocturnal Animals.
Yeah, and he's kind of in that one. He's kind of
so
there,
pretty,
right?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have much to do, but it's just like, wow, he's really good looking. You look, shot, scene change, and it's like you don't even remember that you saw him.
Yeah,
at least for me. And then the last thing I wrote was there is this character in the movie who is like the bar maiden. And I just wanted to tell people that's Larry King.
Wow.
And the name is Ugly Stepsister.
That is one of the funniest jokes in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want me to jump back in?
Oh, you have more?
Well, I didn't do any of the production notes. I only have a few.
You didn't do... Oh, yeah, okay. Go ahead. I'm done.
You're done? Okay. So Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz negotiated $10 million to voice sequel, which is much higher than their $350,000.
Sorry, what? They did what?
They got paid $10 million to do this movie, whereas the previous movie
$10 million altogether or each?
Each.
Okay.
Whereas last time they were paid $350,000.
Okay.
So that's
$350,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then but apparently, see, I don't know how true this is, but each actor worked 15 to 18 hours on the total movie. So imagine getting paid $10 million to work for about 16 or 17 hours total.
Crazy. Do you know what that's like now? Like how long actors might spend on an animated movie?
I don't know.
That'd be interesting to look up.
It would be.
'Cause that might be average.
Yeah, it just seems like when you see those two numbers next to each other, it seems ridiculous. But I mean, and also if they can negotiate the deal, I don't have a problem with that. So the screenwriters for the first film, Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, they wanted to do a traditional fairy tale for this one, but left the project when they weren't able to. Why
would they do that? It's the whole point of Shrek is it's not.
I know. I don't know what their idea was there. And they started production on this movie in 2001 before Shrek was released.
Wow. So they did have an opportunity to make Shrek a different title.
And then, so this is a direct quote from Wiki. In an early version of Shrek 2, Shrek abdicated the throne and called for a fairy tale election. Pinocchio's campaign was the honesty campaign, while Gingy's was a smear campaign. Director Andrew Adams said it was overly satirical and political with many funny ideas, but it was more intellectual than emotional.
Okay. That's probably a good call.
It sounds like a really funny movie.
It does sound really funny, but in terms of like it being a family movie and for kids, that makes sense.
And then this was nominated for
like honesty campaign, and it's Pinocchio.
Yeah,
that is so funny.
It's nominated for 2 Academy Awards: Best Original Song, "Accidentally in Love," the first song in the movie.
What's that one?
Accidentally in Love, where they're at their honeymoon.
One of their first of many montages, because that's what they have to do in these movies.
Yep. And then it didn't win Best Animated Feature. Can you believe that?
What one?
Well, there was this other movie that came out that year by Pixar, and it was called Incredibles. And that one won. Cool. Yeah. Of course. How could you?
I mean, the movie came out in 2004. Incredibles.
Yeah, that's the year this came out?
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
That's so long ago.
I know. And what was it, like a 13-year in between those movies?
Incredibles is so good.
Yeah. It's great. The second one's great, too. But the first one it's the only good live-action Fantastic Four movie. That's the whole thing about it.
Yeah.
They, actually cracked They just did it. It's so good. It's so good. Let's jump in. So the movie starts, and you got Prince Charming narrating. So it starts the same way as the first movie, the fairy tale book. Mm-hmm. And it's being open, and it's talking about this Prince Charming who goes to a castle. And then you see this Prince Charming guy, and he's going to the same places we saw Shrek.
And they start the movie right off with one of the funniest jokes from the first movie.
Yeah.
He opens the curtain around the bed, and it's the wolf from Little Red Riding Hood in a grandma pajamas, reading and eating potato chips.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he says, "What?"
That's it. That's all he says. And it's so funny because before that, like Prince Charming takes off his helmet and he like whips his hair in slow motion, and then he puts on lip gloss and he's getting ready to kiss, and then that's what he sees. And already in the rewatch, I'm thinking this is such a smart way to start this movie.
I agree,
because it really ties it together, but it's also like, okay, we're going to explore some new territory here.
Yeah.
So it's like the catalyst of the whole movie. So what's good about it in connecting the two movies is it actually, like, the first movie has consequences that force the second movie to come into being, rather than them just like getting into a second issue or something. Yeah. It's not like the Mad Max like serialized thing where they're all kind of closed off. Like, this is pretty closely connected to the first movie.
I like sequels like that.
Yeah.
It's a smart move. I feel like it's the easiest choice, and sometimes the easiest choice is the smartest one.
Yeah.
And I feel like with this one, it was a good choice.
Yeah, it was great. And right off, I'm like, oh man, is this going to be just as funny as I thought it was when I was a kid? For the most part, yes.
Yeah.
Not all the way though.
Okay.
And then we cut to the honeymoon, and we're just seeing them do
Fiona and Shrek.
Yeah, and they're like, that's where there's all those funny bits of that like are jokes about fairy tales and stuff is just great. Like when they go to they go to a suite, and it's a gingerbread house. I think it's like Hansel's Inn, or like yeah, like Hansel and Gretel's Inn, and then there's a joke in this movie about people leaving breadcrumbs, right? Isn't there? I don't remember. No, okay. But it was funny because someone knocks on their door and they open it, and it's Little Red Riding Hood. And she runs away. And yeah, all of that's good. It's been a couple days since we've seen this. I'm kind of forgetting some specific things. Oh, no. Don't admit that to the audience. They will never even notice. And during this, there's an Academy Award nominated song playing. So just think about that for a second. Mm-hmm. It was written for the movie, okay? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and the background to the movie is just so much more detailed. Yeah. It's only been 3 years, and like it's so much more vibrant. Even the hair looks better. Like hair looks more like hair. Yeah. And in the first one, it still looked pretty good. Yeah, we discussed that. We discussed that pretty thoroughly, but I think the step up in quality, because we watched them back to back, and the step up in quality is kind of nuts. Lighting's much better. Lighting's way better. Yeah. And then this is when they get a letter from Fiona's parents, who were the king and the queen of far, far away. The kingdom far, far away, which is a pretty funny bit, the kingdom of far, far away. And that's when the horn player comes up and he does the Hawaii 5-0 intro. Oh, is that what that is? Yeah. Da, 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 da. Yeah, Hawaii 5-0, the old TV show. Oh, okay. Pretty funny bit. And then it's like, hey, we know you found your Prince Charming, so come to the castle, and they want to give you their blessing. And Shrek is saying, heck no, baby, we can't do it. We're ogres. We can't go to civilized places. And then Fiona's like, but it's my parents. They love me. They'll love you. They're going to understand. So she convinces him, and they go, and there's just a really funny bit because Donkey, of course, goes with them. They can't leave without Donkey. Yeah. And he just can't. He's just such a little kid the whole time. And I just really like that joke where Shrek's already blown up because he's so annoyed with Donkey. And then that's that shot where Donkey's muzzle gets in right between them. Yes. And Fiona's reaction, because she sees it and she starts backing away and closing her eyes. Yeah. And he does it. He pops. He makes that pop noise. Yeah, he's been making these pop noises the whole time. But Fiona's reaction is the funniest part to me. It really is. It's really funny. That's some good like character animation. Yeah, it was really good. Just bracing for the impact. Yeah. I would also say that by the way, which there are tons from this, because for some reason the Shrek series became like, it's very like meme heavy. Like people love to make memes out of it, which maybe we'll get into later on a different episode, because I think there's a reason for that. But that scene is something where a lot of times online people will cut, like right when he's about to make a sound, you cut in like an annoying song or something like that.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
Anyway, it's pretty annoying. I saw it one time and I hated it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna say that the people in this movie, because I know in the last episode I talked about how I really disliked the human animation and artwork. I still say that it's not my preference, but everyone looks a lot better.
Yeah, and I really like how the king looks. There's something
I do
about
too.
him.
I like it too.
I like to look at him.
His eyes are just a smidge too big for him,
and his facial hair is nice.
Hair is really nice.
Yeah.
The mom looks just like Prince Charming. Confusingly, it almost makes you wonder. And she just looks like whatever to me. But the fairy godmother looks really good. I
like
think.
The fairy godmother a lot.
She looks great. And Prince Charming looks, and this is because the animation's better, he looks good. Like, as opposed to if this movie was the 2001 version of the movie, it just would be creepy.
Yeah.
It's not as creepy.
Yeah.
Still not my favorite artwork, but it is definitely better.
Yeah. So then we're there. So when they meet Shrek, they're walking down that aisle and they're doing that great thing where they're cutting between his parents and then the Shrek family, and they're doing that funny comedy bit where one of them is saying a sentence and then the other one's finishing it, but usually with a different, like the sentence makes sense, but maybe it's contradictory or something like that. And then they finally meet up and you can tell that there's tension, that she's an ogre. She tries to explain it. They have this dinner, and Shrek and the dad fight because he's not happy about it.
Yes.
And he's basically, then the fairy godmother comes in. And pretty funny. Again, they're just taking these characters and making the fairy godmother like this, like helpline.
Yeah.
Manufacturing.
She's kind of more like a witch than a fairy to me because she's all into the potion stuff. Not a complaint at all, really. Because it's like, what else are they going to do? Because they can't not do the fairy godmother thing, I think. It's too clever and funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, she
if she's a witch, there's no switcheroo on that. She's a bad guy. You know, because witches are bad. So she's got to be a...
Like classically and everything. So
have
like, you seen Harry Potter?
Well, no, but I mean, imagine you're watching the movie and it's like, oh, I'm the witch.
Yeah.
Then you're watching it and you're like,
you're
she's
right.
a bad guy.
You're totally right, especially in a movie like this.
Yeah. Even though you find out early on that she's a bad guy, but
doesn't she give Shrek a business card? Why does she just kind of like, this is who I am? Like,
well, she gives it to Fiona because Fiona's crying and she's just a teardrop away, and then Shrek takes it. But before that, that's when we find out that Prince Charming is fairy godmother's son, and they had this whole thing arranged with the king, and you find out that he met his wife because of her help. So it's a little complicated.
He promised her like his princess.
And then there's that great thing with them like driving in fairy godmother's car, and Prince Charming has like no personality at all.
Oh,
like
no,
she's completely
a
controlling
baby.
of him, and he's very much like a baby.
Yeah.
You just said
a whiny baby.
A whiny baby.
And she says, it's so funny because when she says she's like, "You're making me do something I hate doing," to the king. And then the car stops, and you're like, "Oh, she's gonna like kill him or do something."
Yeah.
And she's like, "You're making me break my diet." And they're in a drive-through, and I think it's funny that the Prince Charming orders a Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Of course, because he's a baby. And the Happy Meal toy is like an axe, like an actual axe. And it's so funny.
Yeah, funny enough, that joke to me was like, watching it now, I'm like, ugh, cut that one.
Oh, I kind of like it.
It's like a little too much. But in theory, it is funny too. And as a kid,
you don't know comedy. You don't know comedy.
But then the king's like, I got to kill this ogre. So he hires the most fearsome creature he can find. And that creature is Puss in Boots, who's a cat that has a sword, wears little boots, and wears a little hat. And he is pretty freaking cool. And he's voiced by Antonio Banderas, which is great casting. And he's basically Zorro, so that's great too. He even does he carves a pea in a tree. But did you know that Puss in Boots is an actual character, like a fairy tale character?
No, from what?
I thought they made it up.
From what?
Like
how old is it?
Like hundreds of years old.
Oh, really?
It's this like mischievous cat that like is a fearsome cat. And there's this old movie that Hayao Miyazaki's one of the writers on that's like The Adventures of Puss in Boots.
How come we haven't seen it yet?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's from like 1964 or something like that.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Well, we got to watch it.
So I
didn't know that.
Yeah, so I thought they made it up for this series. I always thought that, but it's and even the old movie, it's like he's got a hat, he's got a sword, and he wears boots.
Dang, that is cool. And so I wonder what that movie's like, and what kind of jokes they make in that movie, because this one, everything seems so organic.
Right.
It's so funny.
It's kind of weird. I'm actually curious now how old Puss in Boots is.
So, well, I can't really remember. So, like, the king makes that decision, and then Shrek and Fiona kind of have an argument about all this stuff. And I think Fiona kind of asks him, like, can you just try to, like, get to know my family? And then Shrek runs into, well, he finds her diary.
Okay. I got to jump in. It's from 1697.
Whoa.
And where is it?
Is it?
Tales, the front piece to the earliest children under Mother Goose's Tales.
Who wrote it?
Author Giovanni Francesco Straparola Gambibiteschi Basil Charles Perrault. So it's several writers.
Wait, can I put down the microphone for a second and go look at our bookcase for a second?
Yes. Pause. So we were looking to see. Well, you were looking to see.
I have a book of old Italian
fairy tales,
fables and fairy tales,
and
the name sounded familiar, so I thought it was that person, but it's not.
Yeah, it's it says the oldest telling is by Italian author Giovanni Francesco Straparolo, who included it in his The Fictitious Knights of Straparolo, 1550 to 53. So it's that old. And guess what other names they call him? The Booted Cat and Master Cat. And then look at this picture. He's cool. He's like in full attire there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's just the Wikipedia Puss in Boots if you want to see this picture.
Can we get this picture and frame it?
It's pretty cool.
This is like perfect for a bath. Our bathroom's cat themed.
We should get it.
Can we get it and put it in our bathroom?
I think we will.
I got to draw this.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he's cool. And what he does is it's an anthropomorphic cat who uses trickery and deceit to gain power, wealth, and the hand of a princess in marriage for his penniless and low-born master. Pretty cool.
Yep.
I'm all about that puss.
Yep. So to get back to the plot, so Shrek finds Fiona's old diary from as when she was a child, and it's just filled with like Prince Charming stuff.
Fiona Charming. Yeah. Fiona Charming.
And I think it kind of like softens his heart a little bit. You know, it humanizes her to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he runs into her dad and was like, do you want to like spend some, like get to know each other? Let's start over.
Yeah.
And he invites him to go hunting.
Yeah.
The next morning. So Donkey and Shrek are going out trying to find the location where the dad told him to go. Can't find it. Run into Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
And that whole thing ends very quickly. He does not even come close to killing Shrek. And then he just is already on Shrek's side. There's really no, it's not really they've had to really convince each other over anything.
Well, one thing so far in these two movies that I appreciate as like an older viewer now, but also like it's not the best writing in the world, is they just kind of go like from A to B to C to D to E to F, movie's over.
Yeah.
They don't like,
true.
They don't waste any time,
streamlined.
which is kind of nice when you're watching an old animated film that's made for kids.
Mm-hmm.
That it's just like a streamlined plot.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, it doesn't have like the touch of, like a Pixar movie where they can take their times with certain things. Or
yeah, and I think it is kind of funny that Puss just like so quickly, it's just like, oh, okay, I'll just be on your team.
Yeah,
but there is an element of humor in that.
Yeah.
But so Shrek does discover that the dad was going to try and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So he decides to go to the fairy godmother and seek help. Because he is made aware that she helps people.
Yes.
So he's going to go to her and see if she can help him.
And that's all funny because it's like he shows up and there's like
it's like a waiting room, like
a receptionist.
Yeah. And it's funny because the picture of the place is very like an old Dutch countryside, like place with the water like wheel thing.
Yeah.
And right behind it is like a factory.
It's like smokestacks that are putting out like pink and green and blue smoke and stuff.
Such a funny image.
Yeah.
So it's like she basically like she does help people, but it is a business that she's running.
Yeah, and
she's not very honest.
You brought up it's just like mother, right? Isn't her name or grandmother in Futurama?
Oh, yeah.
The person who owns the robot company. And it's like you see every episode she's in, it's like usually ads for robots and they're all nice and all that stuff. And then it will cut to her like after the ad. She takes off her fat suit and she's like, oh, and she's just this tyrannical leader that's trying to rule the world. Great. And this is that same thing.
Funny.
Well, we're talking about a comedy, so that's a good thing. And then that's when they basically find out that they're not going to be able to be helped by her. So they...
But doesn't he realize, like... Well, she makes it clear in a very rude way, like, you're terrible.
Yeah, they do meet.
They do meet, and she was just like...
She does that thing where she's like, let's see, Cinderella, no ogres.
Yes.
Beauty and the Beast, no ogres. And...
So she's basically telling him, like, you don't belong anywhere.
Yeah.
You should just leave now. And so... What he does is resolves to steal her, but what's the potion called?
Well, they like kind of break in.
Yeah.
And then Puss gets real high up in this bookshelf of potions. And he just grabs like the only one he can because they get caught. And it's True Love's Kiss or something like that. And it's like you take the potion.
It makes you the most perfect form of yourself or something like the most beautiful version of you or something like that.
Yeah, and then you just kiss
and whenever
your true love by midnight.
You will keep your form.
Keep that form, yeah.
So, sorry, I keep interjecting over you.
No, that's fine.
So they successfully escape after destroying the warehouse. Potions going everywhere. All of the guys who work for her, who are like minions before minions were a thing from Despicable Me.
Yeah.
They're all turned into birds, which I think is super, like doves, which is super funny.
Yeah.
And so they leave. Fairy Godmother's like, we got to stop. We got to get them. Mm-hmm. And then Donkey tries the potion before Shrek just to see what happens because they don't really know what's going on with it. And he turns into a beautiful stallion.
Right.
Not immediately, though. Not immediately.
No, they think that it doesn't work.
Yeah. And Shrek even drinks it too. Nothing happens. They find a barn. They sleep there. And then when they wake up, Donkey's a beautiful stallion.
And Shrek turned into Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes.
And here's...
But like the good-looking version.
Yeah. And there's like all these maids around Shrek because he's a human now and he's so hot. And Eddie Murphy's going ham on the script with steed stuff and being really intense because now Donkey's a white stallion and he's really excited.
Yeah.
But man, Shrek it's kind of scary to look at as a human. Mm-hmm. I do not like how he looks as a human. It's
off-putting.
It's off-putting, and it goes into the uncanny valley for me.
It does. I mean, like in a way it does. I'll just say yes. I'm not going to get too much into it because I'll be saying all those things that you just said.
It's just it's weird.
Yeah, it is for sure.
And then what happens after that?
Well, he's like, oh, I'm perfect now. I'm perfect for Fiona. I'm going to go find her. I'm going to go kiss her. And then we'll be perfect because we'll be humans and no one will hate us.
Yeah.
That's his reasoning for it. But by the time he gets to the castle, he like can't get to her. I think the fairy godmother holds him back.
Yeah.
But the thing is like when they left the factory, fairy godmother had known which potion they had stolen. So she was one step ahead of him and sent Prince Charming to the castle. And Prince Charming went up to Fiona and said that I'm Shrek.
Yes, that's right.
So that's like, and fairy godmother's like keeping Shrek from her. So, Shrek's like, well, there's no point in doing anything now.
And this is so funny because it's like he's gone through all this crazy stuff with Fiona in the previous movie.
Yeah.
And then he sees kind of a little bit of a problem, and it's all based on lies and stuff like that. And he's just like, okay, well, I guess Fiona's going to live with him now. That's too bad.
I know, when you think about it that way, it's kind of ridiculous. Also, like, they're married. So, like, I know it's very, very fictional and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But it is kind of who his character is, though. He does give up easily. If it wasn't for Donkey, there would have never been an ending to it.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, he's always pushing him to confront things and face the facts.
Okay.
And all of this. Donkey is a good friend.
Donkey is a good friend.
And Steed.
But then eventually they overhear something or other about the manipulation. Oh, you know what it is? When he shows up at the castle, he doesn't hear, but Fairy Godmother gets him in another room and she goes, look, she fell in love with Prince Charming.
Yeah.
And then later he finds out that Fiona was told it was Shrek and that she... And the whole time she's like really suspicious because now this Prince Charming guy is like waving to crowds and he's really
Shrek.
into it. It's just not him.
Yeah.
And he's like, baby, it's the new me. Shagadelic, baby.
Nope. So
I had a cough.
Their visit to Fiona's parents was all going to lead up to this like party celebrating their marriage, like a reception. So, by the time Shrek finds out, it's like right before the reception, and Prince Charming's planning on kissing her there, which will
sound familiar.
Yeah. And then so Shrek needs to band his friends together, his fairy tale friends together to break in, and they do one of the funniest things in the movie, and they go to Drury Lane where the Muffin Man lives, and they bake a giant gingerbread man, and his name's Mongo or something, like Mondo.
I think it's Mongo.
Oh my gosh, it's such a one of the favorite things for the Martinez kids.
Yeah, and he helps them break into the castle. And earlier there was a cop spoof.
Well, I don't know how far into that it is, but Mongo, giant gingerbread, is trying to pull down the drawbridge, and his arms get blown off or snapped off, and he falls into the moat.
Yeah.
And the little gingerbread man is like, no! And he goes and jumps onto him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's actually kind of sweet. Because Mongo's in the moat and he's just like, oh.
Yes. We should also say before this, I know we talk about Tom Cruise too much in this podcast already. But there is a Mission Impossible spoof, so we got to mention it.
Oh yeah, Shrek and Donkey are thrown into prison.
Yeah, they get arrested
for what?
He's riding a white Bronco, which is the O.J. Simpson thing, and it's like all being filmed, and it's a spoof of Cops.
Yes, that's right.
It's called Knights.
Yeah.
And while he's there, or they get captured, and all the fairy tales are watching TV on the mirror.
Yes.
And then they go and they break them out, and Pinocchio jumps down into this pit that they're locked in, and he does all this twists, and it's playing the Mission Impossible music, and he gets completely wrapped up in it. And then one of the funniest jokes in the movie, which is kind of a little risque, but they're like, Pinocchio, we need you to lie so that the nose will grow and they'll be able to unlock Shrek and Donkey. And when they're there, he's like, I don't know, just say, Pinocchio goes, I don't know what to lie about. And he goes, just say a lie like I'm wearing ladies' underwear. And then he goes,
I'm not wearing ladies' underwear.
I'm wearing a lady's underwear.
Oh, right. And nothing happens.
And nothing happens to his nose. And then they're like, are you? And he's like, no, I'm not wearing a lady's underwear. And then, of course, his nose grows. And then Gingerbread Man like pulls his pants and he goes, it's a thong.
That was so funny.
It's a great bit.
Yeah.
And earlier, they also, one of the funniest jokes, too, is when Prince Charming says that when he got to the castle, all he saw was a gender-confused wolf.
Yeah, pretty funny.
So they break him out, and
the leading up to the big reception party is like a red carpet thing that's going on,
and
like
Joan Rivers is hosting.
Rivers is hosting,
and it's actually her, no fairy tale or anything. It's like, I'm Joan Rivers at the red carpet for Shrek and Fiona,
and it's hilarious because these fairy tales are getting out, like Sleeping Beauty. They open her limo and she just falls and she's asleep. And then what was the other one?
Oh, it was the Hansel and Gretel. They come out and they're throwing breadcrumbs, and Joan Rivers goes, I don't know why they're throwing breadcrumbs everywhere.
That's right.
That's such a good joke.
Yeah. And then Fairy Godmother shows up. It didn't say Fairy Godmother. That word didn't come out correctly. Yeah, so that's so funny. It's like one of the best parts of the movie, too.
Yeah.
We've said that like 3 times. So Shrek and all of his guys come in, and in his ensemble is you got Mongo, you got Gingerbread Man, you have Pinocchio, you have 3 blind mice, and I think they have the pigs too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the pigs are there.
Then they have the pigs with Puss and Donkey.
Yeah. And then they come in, the dad has like another potion that will make her fall in love with whoever she kisses. And he puts it in tea, and then
Fiona is who he did it to.
Yeah, but then he switches him because he feels really bad about it. Mm-hmm. And she drinks the tea, and then Prince Charming kisses her really quick, and nothing happens. Mm-hmm. And then...
and this is right before midnight, because Shrek needs to kiss her by midnight.
Yeah, and there's a fight sequence kind of thing, and Fairy Godmother sings a song and like sexily lays on a piano. And yeah, I mean...
Oh, that's the song I Need a Hero.
Yeah, yes, that's right. And then, the movie resolves.
Wait, who plays
right?
her? I didn't look at her.
You didn't look at the Fairy Godmother?
I forgot.
That's right. What are you thinking? I mean, is there... So then what... Oh my gosh, I'm stuttering right now.
Jennifer Saunders.
Any highlights there?
She was in that movie, Isn't It Romantic, that came out this year.
Oh, wow. How romantic.
She's in the movie Sing. All those animals singing. She's in Coraline.
Oh.
Miss April Spink. Who is that?
I bet it's one of the ladies that live in the basement.
Oh, you're right. You're totally right. She's in the video game Fable.
Okay.
Just a video game I've always wanted to play. Anyway, she seems to be in a lot of singing things. She's in 2 episodes of Friends. She's in Spice World. She's in 1 episode of Roseanne.
Oh.
She's been around the block.
Anyway, so basically, Shrek succeeds. They accept their ogreness, and they wait till after midnight to kiss.
Yes.
And then it's true love. Everything's great, but then the dad the Fairy Godmother's like, you messed all this up. I'm making you go back to what you were. And she turns him into a little frog.
Well, she basically turns him back into what he was.
Yeah, I was going to say, because he used to be a frog. Mm-hmm. And then...
she gets eaten by the dragon. Right?
She does?
Doesn't she disappear? She dies.
She turns into Bubbles, I thought.
Oh, yeah, she turns into Bubbles.
Oh, yeah, because she shoots her wand around, and then Pinocchio and the pigs grab it, and they shoot her with it.
Yeah, she turns into Bubbles.
Yeah, because the dragon's not in this movie, except at the very beginning.
No.
And then they accept their ogreness, and everything's fine. And then you think, you know what? That's a pretty great sequel. It's not better, I don't think. Do you think it's better?
I thought it was funnier.
I think it's funnier. But I think also some of the comedy goes past the story, whereas most of the comedy in the first movie serves the story and is, but this one they rely a lot on pop culture bits and stuff, which isn't
you're right.
bad.
Yeah, you're right.
But I
think the first one is better than if you think about it.
Yeah, you watch it 15 years later and you're like, okay, I only think that's funny because I barely remember that. Yeah, I guess that used to be a thing. You know, but I think the story to the first movie is better. Mm-hmm. But I think this is a nice way to integrate a sequel, and I think it works.
I think so too.
It's just slightly not as good as the first Shrek.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
You can disagree.
I think I technically agree.
What does your heart say?
No, this one was funnier, so I liked it more.
Okay.
That's what I'm basing these movies on. What's funnier? Also, Puss is in it.
I know. Puss is a great thing.
My favorite.
Do you think that we're going to like his movie?
I don't know. I don't even know anything about it.
Because it's a whole movie of just him. It's Puss in Boots.
And knowing now that he's got centuries of backstory,
it'll probably be
there's so much to tell.
What if we walk away with this as our number one in the series? That's probably going to happen. I mean, it's an hour and a half of the cool cat.
Yep.
But then there is, back in the day, for the listeners, just go back with us. Remember when DVD menus used to have special features?
And they actually meant something.
So this one had a very famous one, which was Far, Far Away Idol, where you would click on that option, and then people are at the last set of the movie, and Simon Cowell comes out, animated, and sits down with Shrek and Fiona, and they judge all the characters from the movie singing different songs that are usually puns about who they are. Mm-hmm. Like, I can see clearly now the Three Blind Mice sing. Mm-hmm. Domo Arigato, Mr. Rogato.
Domo Arigato.
That's what it is. The robot song is sung by Pinocchio.
Yeah.
And so all of that stuff. And then when you'd get to the end, you could vote. Mm-hmm. And whichever one you voted on, I think there was one where this didn't happen. I don't remember which one, but on all of them, you'd click it, and then Simon Cowell would be like, horrid, I can't believe it. And then he sings a song. Mm-hmm. Pretty funny bit. And especially since it's not a part of the movie, I think it's great. Mm-hmm. If it was like in the movie, it'd be horrible to watch that now. Since American
Remember how
Idol
weird the mice
relevant.
looked when they were singing and dancing?
No.
Did your sister make that comment with me then? I don't know. It was just like their animation was like kind of wrong. It was weird.
Really?
They looked so weird.
Oh, I don't think I noticed.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Well, I'm sure they tried to cut some corners on that.
Oh, you could tell, Micah. Believe me.
I totally missed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's Shrek 2. Mm-hmm. Do we got any other things to throw out about Shrek 2?
It's funny. You should watch it.
Yeah, I mean,
I recommend it.
This has been interesting so far. So far, I'm liking the movies.
Me too.
But next is Shrek 3.
And I have not seen it.
And I saw it in theaters as a kid. I think it came out in like 2006, so I'd have been like a 6th grader. And I did not like it. I thought it was horrible.
We'll find out.
And so we will see what happens on Shrek the 3rd next week. Don't forget to rate. Review. And if you haven't subscribed, do it now. And if you have a friend that wants to listen, show them how to subscribe. Maybe they don't use their podcast app too much. Get them into the game.
Please.
We're Shrek. It's the Shrekening.
We want to have fun with you.
We want to.
With Shrek.
Yes. I couldn't have been said any better than my wife, Jordan. I love you.
I love you too. Good night.
Good night, everybody.